Hello. I'm home from Norway. I'm glad I'm home. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to share with you some Atlas Obsura finds. I don't have my little wireless thing, so I'm going to have to do the old school way and go up here, but I'm going to roll the intro. Then I'll be back to tell you about my journey because it was quite the journey. But I've got some tips for you and the Atlas Obsura stuff, so that'll be fun. Okay, see you in a minute. Boom! Let's do this. Oh, hey, I was just checking to see. Yep, it's working. I love that. Always checking, always checking. Yeah, so I was going to do some of these canters with Katie when I was in Norway, but it just gets to be, it's hard because it's 9 hours ahead. So it's pretty tricky. I'm getting this ready just in case. But I'm going to show you. So here's what's cool. You go, all right, let me see if I can, Atlas Obsura. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this. So, Atlas Obsura is really cool. I've shown it to you before. I'm going to do share screen, and we're going to go with burp. So this is how you do it. So you go to Atlas Obsura, okay? I'm going to make sure you can see that on there. So you go to Atlas Obsura, and then, so I have an app, though, and I'll show that to you, too. So then, just say you're on a computer and you wanted to plan something from far away. Then you type in Oslo, okay? There's only 19 places there. Like Edinburgh has a ton. So then it has 19 places, but then you can go to the map and then you can kind of zoom in. So I was in the city center. So basically, if you can see these four, I was at a hotel like right around here. So I just went to these four, okay? And then it maps out your trip. It tells you all about it. So I'm going to tell you about the first one, which is the Oslo Opera House. So I'm going to remove this for a second and add this here. Okay. So my trip home. Boop. This is the Oslo Opera House, or Operahuset i Oslo. And I will look at the things on here. It's really cool. It's glass. It was located at the very center of the city, in the middle of the Oslo Fjord. It is a 5-minute walk from Oslo Central Station. And what else? There's got to be more in here. Oh, here. Sorry. It's a beautifully crafted cultural building. Has sharp white surface drawings, blah, blah, blah. The goal was to make the capital city's opera house, commissioned in the year 2000, feel like a part of the surrounding nature. And the building's architect, Sonjeta, drew inspiration from icy glaciers. So the roof is sleek and easy to climb. So I'll show you a couple of pictures. It's beautiful. So these are taken by me, and I had a video to show you, but I forgot that I can't just do iPhone videos. It's kind of funny. It's really pretty though. You get up there, you have nice views. Look at that. I mean, like, these places are so old, right? And I shared this bird on Instagram earlier. And then I realized after climbing up all these steep steps that I could have just walked up and down the steps there. So if you can see this, that's what it's kind of like. And then you walk up. It's kind of steep. And then it's funny because you don't really notice the little steps there. And then like I tripped a bunch of times, but of course that's just me. Okay, and then right next to that is this, and that is called She Lies, like Lies, okay? And it is the power of Mother Nature over human endeavors is on display in the Oslo Harbor. It's just off the shore of the Oslo Opera House. You can see it from the top, too. You can see it when you're walking there. It's a floating stainless steel and glass sculpture named She Lies and was designed and created by an Italian artist, Monica Bonavinci, and it's based on Caspar David Friedrich's painting, The Sea of Ice. So it's basically... it's tethered to the harbor ferns. It's really cool. And it's a reminder of nature's constant change. And it's just really neat looking, actually. So that's kind of from far away. just kind of giving you a glimpse of it from some different angles. And then the next one was, I was really disappointed in this one because it was closed. It's the mini bottle gallery. So I didn't get to go in and see it. It's just a museum that has a bunch of mini bottles in it. There are more than 53,000 bottles on display from 50 different installations spread throughout a 3-story building. So some of them are filled with fruit and berries. They still have worms in them. Some of them have different beers and liquors. And it leads down to a horror room where you can find even more bottles. But that's the funky little sign. And that's a picture of it I took and then a close up. You can kind of see the bottles. So they have them outside, but it's like a little museum thing. So the best thing about like Atlas Obsura is that you can go somewhere, and I'm saving the best for last. It's free. And you see things that you never would have seen. Like you never would have noticed. This is called the Devil of Oslo. And it's it's on the Oslo Cathedral that was constructed in 1967 or 1697. Whoops. And it's one of the most famous churches in Norway. The Devil of Oslo is much older. The devil is about 900 years old and was found among the ruins of St. Halvard's Cathedral. The statue was removed from the ruins and grumbled onto the walls of Oslo Cathedral, and it depicts a man being attacked on both sides by a dragon and a lion. So it tells you how to get there. That's what's cool about Atlas Obsura. It tells you how to get there, and it's just a neat looking thing. And the funny thing is, you never see it. Like, I don't think you can see my cursor, but it's right there on the bottom right of the church. Like, you just wouldn't notice it. So I put that there so you would see that. So, like, as you're cruising around, and that's it for that. As you're cruising around, that's the kind of cool thing is that, like, you never would have noticed that. So now it gives you an opportunity to, like, find all of the cool things. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you about my trip home. It was the worst trip home ever so far. So I kind of already have given you little tidbits. So Saturday morning I got up and they have so I'm in the city center and they have trains that run at 2:00 and 4:00, but not 3:00 for some reason. There's a thing. It's so funny because I'm learning Norwegian. I thought it was fly to get, like it's FLYTOGET, but toget is like train, so it's like fly train. Duh. So anywho, they don't have it at the right time because my flight was taking off at like 6:45 or something. Okay, so leaving at 4 on the train is tricky when you have baggage. And what? I just like to be there early, so I left at 3:15. I'm standing outside of the hotel. It's just a nice hotel. And I had the night before, so I had heard that you could go to the airport the night before and check your bags in. And then if like you had a flight leave before 8 a.m., you can go between 7 and 10 p.m. So I got on that stupid flight Toget, or maybe it's Toga. I don't remember if you pronounce it T or not. Anyway, I got on that with my 2 big bags, went all the way out to the airport, found out I couldn't check in, had to go all the way back. So I had them set up a taxi ride for me with Oslo Taxi. And so I had a confirmation number. And so when I went out in the morning, it was 3:15. Well, it's 3:00. It was like right after 3:00, and I had scheduled for 3:15. And a guy drove up in a taxi and was like, get in. It's the same company. I was like, no, I'm not getting in without a confirmation number. What's the confirmation number? He's like, it's the same company. And he just kept saying, get in. And so the thing is, like, it was already costing me $130 American to go there. But another guy had told me it costs anywhere from $150 to $250. And, I was like, forget it. I'll, have the hotel help me. So I wasn't going to do it. Then another taxi driver came up and was like harassing me. And then a guy came up and he was trying to talk to me. And he's like, you have too many bags. And kept trying to hug me. So I went inside and I got the guy who was just a big 6'5" guy that worked there. And he came out and he helped me and stood there with me until the right taxi came. So then I thought, phew, I'm in the clear. So I get to the airport. I'm excited because I am the second in line. 2 nice people in front of me. I get up to the front and they tell me my flight is canceled. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So then they went ahead and rebooked everything for me. So I had upgraded. I was going from Oslo to Brussels to Washington, D.C., and then Washington, D.C. home. I had plenty of time in between. I make sure that I do that. So Oslo to Brussels, everything like that was going was about 2 hours. And then Brussels to Washington, D.C. was 8 hours and 45 minutes. So not that bad. And then like 4 hours and 45 minutes from there. Okay. But I had like a 3.5 hour layover there. Because when you come back to the United States, as you know, you have to come back and you have to grab your baggage and then recheck it in. You have to go through customs again. You have to go through TSA. It's a thing. It's ridiculous. So I had no option. And so when they rebooked me, they didn't upgrade my tickets because the thing is, as I found out, I upgraded them with cash later. Because, okay, if you go to those of you that have flown a lot, if you think, oh, maybe I want to fly, premium select or whatever, premium, just a class above, regular coach, it's like $1,000 more. But if you wait and then you book and then regular seats, and then when you go to check in or whatever, or even sometimes before that, you can get on the app and you can upgrade your seat. So I did it. It was like $350 American. Okay. So they don't honor that. And I found that out because it was a cash upgrade and because I was flying to Brussels and Brussels airline. And then I was just on Lufthansa all the way to where I'm going to get to the United States and be on United. So I have to get my money back from the Brussels airline somehow, but they were on strike. So that's what screwed up my whole thing going from Oslo to Brussels. And I had like a nice 2-hour layover there. So they rebook me. And when I get to Frankfurt, I have 30 minutes. I have to get on a bus with the whole entire plane. There's 2 buses waiting and we go all the way over to the gates, and I have to go to gate Z62. So I am running through the airport. Oh, I got a comment. Gabrielle, yes, thank you. Glad you made it back safe. Me too. Hugs back to you too. So I'm running, sweating my butt off, and I get to the gate, and then it's delayed 20 minutes. So that's when I found out that's why my upgrade wasn't honored, and I just didn't have enough to pay another 470 euro. I was like, you know what? I had gone on and I saw that I could get like a window seat, which I usually like the aisle seat, but sometimes the aisle seat doesn't have as much leg room. So I thought, all right, it's gonna a 10 hour and 35-minute flight, which I was not happy about. And so I thought, oh, I'll just get the window seat because then I'll, just be able to put my head down and sleep. I'll have more leg room. No, because where I was sitting in these seats, underneath the seats that were next to the window were metal boxes. So I had no room. They didn't have plugins on the plane for your phones. It was ridiculous. It was just awful. Thankfully, it wasn't hot. It was nice and cool, so I could use the blanket and stuff because on the way there, it was just ungodly hot on the plane. So 10 and a half hours on the plane. And then I get to Houston, which there's a hurricane about to happen. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? Am I going to end up staying in a shelter for 4 days? Like what's going to go on? Blah, blah, blah. So you have to go and grab your bags and then you have to recheck them. And then, like I said, you have to go through customs and then TSA again, both. You have to go through this whole thing. So I've waited over 40. I have an hour. They've given me 1 hour to do all this. I wait over 40 minutes for my bags. I get one of my bags. The other one doesn't come. And the guy's like, well, there's no more coming. So I'm like, crap. So I go to take this bag and it's been tagged because I missed the other flight. So they thought it wasn't with me. So like, let's go on a 6 o'clock flight. And I'm like, I'm leaving at 4:20. This is like 15 minutes. Like, what's going on? So anyway, I put it on the deal and I thought, whatever, maybe I'll just get it later. So I have to run. I have to go through all this stuff. I have to go through this stuff again. And by the time I get through customs and TSA, I have like 6 minutes to get to my gate. So I'm running and I'm running and I'm running and I am like out of breath and I'm running past people on escalators and whatever. And it's just like ridiculous. And by the time I get to the plane, it was closing at 4:05 because we were leaving at 4:20. It was like 4:04, 4:03, 4:04. And I broke down and cried. And I, not like, but I was like, and I was like, this has been the worst trip. I mean, I didn't have time to go to the bathroom. I didn't have time in either place to get a coffee, go to the bathroom, get a snack, nothing. Grab water, So she's like, do you want some water? Do you want some tissues? So they filled up my water thing, which was nice. And I got tissues and then I went and sat down and I had paid $80 to sit in the exit row. And I was by the window. These 2 nice guys were next to me. And I just was crying. And I forgot to bring my fan over here because that was gonna be one of the things I've shown it to you before, this little square fan, and I just held this fan in my face. I'd probably look like this weird middle-aged lady that's just like, going through crap. And I pushed the button and I was like, can I please go to the bathroom? I didn't have time. And so they let me go because we were on a wait for 20 minutes because there was a hurricane. So So they let me go to the bathroom, and then I ended up getting out of there, thank God, because you could see the sky like looming above us. It was crazy. And so about another 2 hours, and I got home. I did get my one bag, and then I went to the counter, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't even know where the bag is." And he's like, "Good luck. There's like a Category 5 hurricane." I'm like, "Well, okay. I mean, truth be told, I'd rather lose my bag on the way home than on the way to a place, because one of the athletes, one of my friends, she didn't have her bag the whole time. So this is now like 3 weeks later, and they just found her bag untagged in, like, I think Brussels or Amsterdam or something. So she's gonna finally get it back. And then my friend Mona, lost her bag last year, and it took, I think, 60 something days for her to get it back. So I did call yesterday, and they said it's supposed to be on a flight arriving at 7 p.m. tonight, and they're going to bring it to my house. So I was exhausted because by the time I had left and gone through, it was like well over 24 hours, because it's 9 hours ahead. So, you're just going through all of this stuff. And then I didn't have enough food, so I was emotional. And so, but I did take a driverless car. All these people are, showing me, oh, driverless car went the wrong way, and like it could be dangerous. And I'm like, well, it's a person can do it too. So thankfully, the best part was $14.50 for me to come home, and my sister had ordered some food on Uber Eats for me to have when I got home. So that was great, and it was just the longest trip. And I just saw somebody else post about that. So I don't know. Tell me in the comments about some of your travel woes. I mean, that was just very long. So I am not ever going to schedule flights like that again. Like the thing I will probably do is schedule through New York or Newark or something, because it's 4 or 5 hours from here, and then it's like 5 or 6 from there. I mean, even 7. I can't do flights like that. That was awful. It's just awful. So I don't know. I mean, it's worth it to go and be in a place like that and be with all your friends. And of course, nothing happens on the way there. The same thing happened to me on the way back 2 years ago. If you remember, SAS didn't check me all the way through. So maybe it's Oslo, because the 3 times I've been to Norway, Oslo has screwed me up twice. I flew to Trondheim, no problems. I even got to fly business class on the way home for an extra $600. So Eleni says, Katie, before and after, you're going to have something great coming to you. You know what? I better, because crap I went through before I left, and then I was in a little funk, and I brought way too much luggage. I think it was emotional baggage, like literally. So I really got to like reconsider some things. But here are my tips for you, okay? My parents are like, my dad's like, we don't want you doing that again. He's like, with the taxi and all the people. And I was like, Dad, I'm way too smart for that. Like, if you remember a few years ago, a guy was following me in San Francisco. You've got to always be aware of your surroundings. You have to always, always, always be aware of your surroundings. And another thing is, book a hotel. If you're taking a taxi, you're in a foreign country or anywhere else, actually, book through the hotel. Make sure you get a booking reference number, and do not get in a taxi or any other thing without a reference number or a confirmation, if that's what you have, even on a bus or something like that, because you just never know. I heard from someone else in the comments that of course they would have charged me more, and they could have held my bags until I paid the extra fee. So if you're at the end of a trip and you have not as much money left, that's going to be a really big consideration. So don't give people your info, where you're going. I mean, they obviously know you're going to the airport, but my biggest tip for that is to make sure you have that confirmation number, and don't be afraid to ask for help. So that's one thing my mom said too. She's like, well, I don't really worry, because I know you'll ask for help. Because I went straight back into the hotel. I couldn't get in, I didn't have my key, but I rang the doorbell. And I said, I need your help. I'm being harassed out here. And it came right out. So there's some other things that I'll talk about another time. I looked up. I mean, you can actually call the embassy ahead of time and stuff. And you need to get like find the emergency numbers in the area, which is a really good idea, especially if you're renting a car and stuff. Always get the insurance. So that's the thing. Just be aware of your surroundings. Make sure you have a confirmation number. Pack better than I did. And the problem I had was that I had no option to rebook. Otherwise, I would have, if they would have said, hey, schedule your flights home, I would have given myself time. You've got to give yourself time. So if something happens, maybe you can call. I didn't realize this. Maybe you can call the airlines, get online, do something, and see if you can change it again and get a more reasonable schedule to get home, because I don't know how anybody would think that that's okay. I mean, so it's 15 hours of flying on top of the other hours of doing stuff. Exhausted. I went and showed homes today. I don't know how I'm surviving, but I'll be all right. So yes, thanks for joining me. Oh, David, hey, welcome home. Thank you. I'm so glad. I don't have any jewelry on. I feel naked today. You know what Sit Squatch always says. I don't have him with me right now. He's with Gorm somewhere. Journey begins with you, so be good to yourself. And Oregon loves you. Oh, this was a little longer than I planned. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Okay. Have a great evening. Remember my tips. I hope you enjoyed the Atlas Obscura. And if you go out of town, even in the United States, look up that Atlas Obscura stuff. That is just a blast to find stuff. It's just so much fun because it's like a little secret, especially when you're by yourself. I'm just like, hee hee, I get to see things other people aren't seeing, So have a great night, guys. Bye.